In the year 2000, the world was holding its breath at the edge of a new millennium. The Y2K bug had come and gone, the internet was just beginning to reshape life as we knew it, and the United States Mint was continuing a tradition that had been going strong since 1792, creating the coins we pass from hand to hand every day, often without a second thought. Among these coins, one small piece of copper and nickel was quietly stamped at the Denver Mint, the 2000 Jefferson nickel, bearing a D mint mark. Now, to the casual eye, this coin looks just like the billions of other nickels minted throughout American history. It's small, unassuming, and often tossed into a drawer, jar, or glove box without a second glance. But what if I told you that this very coin, this 5-cent piece, could be worth 2,400 times its face value? What makes a coin like this, minted in the year 2000, suddenly worth $122 to collectors today? That's where the story really gets interesting. Let's take a step back into history. The coin itself bears the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and principal author of the Declaration of Independence. His stern but thoughtful gaze has graced the nickel since 1938, when it replaced the Buffalo nickel in circulation. That design, created by artist Felix Schlag, features Jefferson facing left on the obverse and his beloved Monticello estate on the reverse. It's a clean, classic design, familiar to generations of Americans, but while the design remained mostly unchanged for decades, each year brings its own unique batch of coins from different mints, with slightly different features, strikes, and production numbers. In 2000, the Denver Mint struck over 1.5 billion Jefferson nickels. So, what makes one of those coins, one marked with that tiny little D under the date, worth over $100 today? That's where condition, rarity, and the fascinating quirks of numismatics come in, but let's go deeper. Beyond condition, there's the allure of the hunt. Numismatics is a world filled with stories of forgotten hoards, of lucky pocket finds, of coins pulled from circulation that turned out to be treasures. For collectors, the year 2000 marks a transitional era. The Mint was ramping up for the State Quarters program, demand for collectible coins was skyrocketing, and more eyes than ever were looking closely at pocket change. So, while millions of 2000 D nickels were made, the number of coins that survived unscathed by circulation, tucked away unknowingly in a bankroll or collection, are few and far between. Many of those nickels were quickly spent, scraped, worn, or tossed around in vending machines. Their details faded. Their value dropped to face, and that's what makes this story so compelling. Somewhere out there, among the everyday coins used to pay for parking meters or tossed into tip jars, one coin survived in near-perfect condition. One coin maintained the crisp definition of Jefferson's cheekbone, the razor-sharp edges of Monticello's columns, and yes, the full, glorious steps leading up to its door. Scarcity plays a big role, of course. While billions of coins were minted, only a handful received high grades from professional services. Fewer still showed those desirable full steps. But there's another factor: passion. The coin collecting world isn't just built on data and rarity, it's built on emotion. For someone building a top-tier registry set of Jefferson nickels, that elusive MS-67 FS 2000D is a must-have. And when you must have something, price becomes secondary. Of course, not every 2000 D nickel is a gold mine. Most are worth exactly 5 cents. But it's the possibility, the idea that hidden among the ordinary lies the extraordinary, that keeps people searching. It's why metal detector hobbyists comb beaches, why collectors buy rolls of coins from the bank, and why some folks never spend their change without a good, long look. It's also a lesson in attention. Every detail on a coin, the luster, the strike, the tiniest nick or blemish, tells a story. And in the case of the 2000 D nickel, those stories converge into one of modern numismatics' most charming surprises. Some might laugh at the idea of a nickel being worth over $100. But those in the know understand the care, patience, and passion it takes to find and preserve such a coin. They understand that value isn't just about rarity, it's about condition, context, and demand. And they know that every once in a while, something so common becomes uncommon, simply because someone had the foresight to look a little closer. So, what can we take from this? Well, maybe next time you're handed a bit of change at the store, pause before tossing it in your pocket. Take a look. That simple nickel with a D below the date just might be your next great discovery. You never know what treasure could be hiding in plain sight. And finally, yes, the 2000 D Jefferson nickel, that humble 5-cent piece, has officially fetched a value of $122 in a public sale. That's not just a price tag. That's a reward for curiosity, for attention to detail, and for a deep appreciation of history in your hand. In the winding corridors of American history, sometimes, the smallest objects carry the biggest stories. A tiny disc of metal, something we flip in the air, leave in vending machines, or drop in tip jars without a second thought, can be a gateway into eras long past. Coins speak, in their quiet way, of our presidents, our values, our economic experiments, and even our mistakes. And few coins tell as surprising a tale as the seemingly humble 1991 5-cent piece, the Jefferson nickel, minted in Philadelphia, carrying a small P mint mark. A coin so ordinary that it may have passed through your hands countless times, and yet, in the world of numismatics, certain examples of this exact coin can now command attention, and a rather surprising price tag. Let's go back, first, to a time when coins were more than just currency. The early 1990s were a period of relative calm in the American coinage landscape. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins annually, largely using familiar designs and formulas that hadn't changed in decades. And that includes the Jefferson nickel, a staple of American pockets since 1938. Designed by Felix Schlag, this 5-cent coin had seen Americans through wars, recessions, moon landings, and cultural revolutions. In 1991, it remained largely unchanged, fronted by the ever-stoic profile of Thomas Jefferson, and backed by his beloved Monticello. Now, 1991 wasn't a particularly revolutionary year in terms of coin design. The United States Mint was still years away from releasing its famous 50-state quarters program or the presidential $1 coin series. But in that quiet year, among the routine minting operations at the Philadelphia Mint, something subtle happened. Millions of Jefferson nickels were churned out, 570 million of them, in fact. Just over 500 million coins that year bore the P mint mark of Philadelphia. And among those hundreds of millions, a few stood out. So, what makes the 1991 P Jefferson nickel special? After all, it's made of standard cupronickel, a mix of 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a weight of 5 grams and a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. Nothing rare about that. There's no experimental alloy, no change in composition, no sudden design alteration. And yet, for collectors, the devil is always in the details. Some coins minted in 1991 at the Philadelphia Mint came out with astonishingly high quality, razor-sharp strikes, virtually flawless surfaces, and an eye-catching luster that refused to fade. These coins, preserved either by luck or by the keen eye of early collectors, have become a rare find. Grading coins is both an art and a science. It involves examining every tiny detail under magnification, from the sharpness of the lettering to the clarity of Jefferson's hair strands, to the reflective quality of the fields around Monticello. Coins are then given a grade on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin, flawless even under 5x magnification. And this is where the magic happens. While over 570 million were minted, only a tiny fraction survived in nearly perfect condition. And that's what makes the 1991 P. Jefferson nickel something of a sleeper hit in the coin community. Quietly, over the years, the value of top-condition specimens began to rise. Not explosively, but steadily. And then came a moment, the tipping point, where this once unassuming coin started fetching prices that made even seasoned collectors raise an eyebrow. A certified 1991 P. Jefferson nickel in pristine MS-67 condition, with a clean surface, minimal contact marks, and outstanding eye appeal, sold for a notable price. That price? $145. Yes, $145 for a coin that was minted in the hundreds of millions, a coin you could have plucked from pocket change in 1991. That's not a printing error. That's not an ultra-rare 18th century piece or a gold commemorative. That's a 5-cent coin, from the modern era, that gained its value not because of rarity in mintage, but rarity in condition. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. If you're holding a 1991 p nickel in your hand right now, chances are it's not worth $145. Most aren't. For it to command that value, it must be virtually flawless, authenticated by a top-tier grading service, and preserved in a protective slab that assures its grade and authenticity to buyers and sellers alike. But the mere possibility, the idea that such a coin can hide in plain sight, is what makes collecting so addictive, so magical, and in that sense, the 1991 P. Jefferson nickel stands tall. So next time you have a handful of change, take a moment. Flip through the nickels. Look for the P. Check the date. Look at the quality. You never know, you might just be holding a small piece of overlooked value. Not just 5 cents, but potentially $145. Or perhaps more, if the market continues to shift, and demand for high-grade modern coins continues to rise. In the end, that's what keeps collectors going, the thrill of the unexpected, the charm of the overlooked, and the satisfaction of turning what others miss into a piece of personal treasure. The 1991 P. Jefferson nickel may not be famous. It may not be rare in the traditional sense. But in its finest form, it stands as proof that greatness often hides in the most unassuming of places. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the surprising story of the 1991 P. Jefferson nickel, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more coin collecting content, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a hidden gem like this one.